Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome to this year's edition of the Pettit's Market Evan Monroe Show, where we cover everything on the reins with the West Greene Buffaloes. As usual, I'm here with West Greene head coach Evan Monroe. Coach, welcome aboard. How are you this evening?
Doing great.
It's a little hot outside today.
Yeah.
I will admit.
It was a warm practice.
It was.
It was a warm practice. Boys kind of had to deal with that a little bit, but we fought through it.
From what Coach Garber said, it's supposed to get hotter through the week, too.
Yes. Friday night, I think, is going to be warm.
Good thing is, it gets cool after a while. Well, sort of cool.
And we go to the top of Roan Mountain this week.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Yeah, it'll get cooler up there as you travel up the mountain a little bit. But you started off week one with a win. We'll go ahead and jump right into that. You played North Greene to open up your high school career and your 2023 campaign. You picked up a win, the first one of your high school career. We were fortunate enough to sit down and talk about it on the Pizza and Saturday Morning Kickoff show. Want to talk about it a little bit more now. Talk about how exciting of a feeling that was to pick up your first win as a head coach.
You know, anytime you get a win, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
That first one, man, it's special. And to get it against a county rival, against a pretty good and much improved North Greene team, is a good feeling. You know, I went home Friday night and I just crashed. I was exhausted. You know, the roller coaster of emotions from the nerves from the beginning of the game to finally settling in to the joy of winning to realizing everything I had to do after the game, and then finally getting home, and I just crashed. So it was a roller coaster of a night, but man, it was such a great night.
By the way, I heard I got you out of laundry.
You did.
I did.
You did get me out of laundry.
You're welcome for that.
Friday night, the guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, we'd like to have you on the pizza and radio show in the morning." And my wife was walking off to put the kids in the car, and I said, "Honey, what am I doing in the morning?" She says, "Well, I hope laundry." I turned around back to the guy and said, "I'll be there at 10 o'clock. So thanks for getting me out of laundry.
Absolutely. Here to help whenever needed. You got that first win. It was a 26-0 score over the Huskies. It took a minute for the offense to get going, though. The first two possessions of the game ended up resulting in turnovers. It was tied 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, but, man, the second quarter started. You started to get things going. One touchdown led to another on the following play from scrimmage with a defensive touchdown from Maddox Garber. You got things going on the ground instead of through the air. I think you started to move it on the ground more after you started to realize that it wasn't really working through the air. So talk about that change in your play calling.
You know, we come out, we throw a little stop route, and it's partially my fault for calling it that direction. Guy turned around, looked right into the sun. No, he said as soon as he turned, all he saw was the sun right in his face. You know, that's just a kind of a rookie mistake on my part of not thinking about where the sun is. And then we started just running the ball, and we're marching right down the field doing what I wanted to do. We ate up almost 7 minutes on that first drive. And we get down to the first and goal, second and goal, we get in our heavy set and we're running downhill. And, I mean, White, Doc, Moody, I mean, he's running. You watch it on film. Nobody's close to him, and he just drops it. And North Greene jumped on it, and, you know, he had a pretty easy path to the end zone. And then the next drive, we throw the pick, and, you know, defense, again, coming huge, forcing back-to-back 3-and-outs. And then we finally settled in and started going. But when we really started rolling, our offensive line kind of started to impose our will a little bit and started leaning on them. And that's when we really started to kind of march down the field on them and do what we wanted.
253 yards on the ground is what I had. Wyatt had a huge chunk of that. He had 103 with a touchdown. Dawson contributed with 60. Ian Kiefer had 56 and a touchdown, and then Austin Franklin didn't have as many yards as those three, but he ended up getting a rushing touchdown himself. So it's been one of those things the last few years I talked about with Coach Ferran, how you didn't really have that one solid player on the ground. You have Wyatt that's going to get a huge chunk of it, but last year too you had Jaden that got a lot of it, and now Dawson's going to get a lot of it too at quarterback scrambling out, and then you're going to see Kiefer get a lot also. And it's a good thing to have those lethal threats in the backfield to help you kind of spread it out more where you know that it's not going to one singular guy.
Yeah. And, you know, on Kiefer's touchdown, Doc had just busted his probably longest run of the night, 35, 40 yards, whatever it was. We said, Doc out. He just run to the sideline. We slid Ian in, and then there was no step drop off. So to be able to have two or three backs to where you can just rotate them in and not really lose a whole lot, that's a weapon in itself. And they're three big, strong backs. Him, Ian, Maddox, and Doc, all three just they're a load to handle. And when you can just kind of pound it on people all night long, eventually you're gonna bust one. And Ian's run for his touchdown, man. He ran over a kid, and kid had him wrapped up. He kind of spun out of it and broke to the sideline and took off. And man, just great run from him.
Maddox didn't get an offensive touchdown, but he did get that big defensive touchdown.
Yes.
That really changed the whole momentum of the game.
Yes.
We had mentioned that you had scored a touchdown. Can't remember if it was 6-7 to nothing. And then the following play from scrimmage, he ends up getting that pick six.
Yeah.
Huge moment for him. We had talked about Saturday that he has a huge knack for that big play.
Yes.
And he was able to deliver that for you and really give you that comforting 2-possession lead.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That missing out on those first two drives and having great field position and coming away with 2 turnovers, I got a little tense on the sideline. You never want to come up empty-handed with good field position. And so I got a little tightened up. And, that's first game stuff. You're going to end up going through that. And once we finally got that score, I breathed a little. Then when Maddox picked that off and took it off, I got fired up for him. That I could breathe a little bit, and we really settled in. And as a team, I think we started to play better once we had that little bit of a cushion.
I got to ask, who was most fired up? You, Maddox, or Coach Garber?
Oh, I don't know. Maddox, he don't get real fired up. He was excited. He was happy that he scored. But I think Coach Garber might have been more fired up than I was. Anytime you see your son do something excellent like that, it's hard not to get excited for him. He was pumped up, and we talk about that one pick from Maddox, but all night long he did a great job for us. Once he kind of settled in and he figured out that what his job was, he kind of shut their offense down. Did a really good job for him, keeping contained and doing what his job was. So it wasn't just that one big play for him. He had a lot of great plays on defense all night long.
Speaking of his turnover, you forced another one too. You had 2 total turnovers on the night. Kind of negated the 2 that you gave away at the beginning of the game also, and it was huge to see your defense step up. We talked about Saturday also that they pitched a shutout. We're recording this on Tuesday. It'll release on Thursday, but Monday, did they get the pizza party?
Yeah, we had a pizza party yesterday.
So Coach Greenlee forked it up.
Coach Greenlee forked it up. Those guys, anytime we pitch a shutout, they get excited because that's a way to help motivate them and it helps the young guys stay motivated if it's a game where we're up big and we're rolling young guys in and trying to get them some game reps. It's big for them to still have that fight to not give up the score so they can still get the pizza party on Monday.
All right, now shoot me this one truthfully. Who on the team can put down the most pizza?
I want to say one of the big boys, but I don't think it is. I wanted to say Zach Carroll, our center, but I really think it might be Doc Moody.
Okay.
I think Doc was first in line for seconds. It might be him. Might be Robert Scruggs.
Okay.
Either one of them. So either one could be the one that kind of put it away. The 2 scrawny guys I wouldn't call Doc scrawny, but 2 of the skill position guys would probably go toe-to-toe with some of the big boys eating. So
if there's another shutout this year that we see, I'm going to have to know that Monday who eats more. We're going to have to keep a tally.
All right. We'll
Everybody needs to keep a tally of how many pieces they eat. Hopefully,
Coach Greenlee won't like that. We'll turn it into an eating contest. he really won't like that. So
it's tough for him too. I'm sure he loves seeing a shutout, but he probably doesn't love forking up that money for the pizza. But as long as you keep winning and as long as you keep doing well, I think that makes him happy regardless.
I think Coach Hahn's got the next pizza party, so we'll throw it on him.
There we go. He's our one audience member today. We're sitting in front of a live studio audience of Coach Clinton Hahn. But you get that win over North Greene, starting off the season 1-0. That's all we've got on the recap, though. Congratulations on your first win as a head coach.
Thank you.
Also,
appreciate that.
We'll be right back after this break, and we'll preview who the Buffaloes have next on their schedule here on Grassroots Media.
Remember those days when life was simpler and every corner held a treasure just waiting to be discovered? Pettit's Market was a place where memories were made and where stories were woven. Here you'll find more than just goods. You'll find a piece of the past wrapped in the embrace of today. Pettit's Market is where neighbors become friends, friends become family, and good food and love holds everything together. So step inside, make memories, eat good, and leave happy. Pettit's Market, the little store with a big welcome.
Pizza Inn's new Right Way Buffet is open and ready for you and your family. Now with new garlic buttery crust and stuffed crust pizza, along with salads and desserts. It's the best part of your day. The all-day, everyday buffet. Only at Pizza Inn Greenville.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pettit's Market Evan Monroe Show, where we cover everything on the field with the West Greene Buffaloes. As always, I'm here with Buffaloes head coach Evan Monroe. So you mentioned it in the first part a little bit. You're traveling up on top of Roan Mountain this week.
Yep.
You've got Cloudland on Friday night. Tough 1A opponent. I think Mark had mentioned it on Saturday that they're always one of the top teams in 1A throughout each and every season. Something different about them boys up there on the mountain. I don't know if it's in the water or just what they feed them, but they're always tough and physical up front. They're always a big, strong unit. So what's your game plan going up against Cloudland on Friday afternoon?
You know, they come out 2 tight ends, 2 fullbacks, and say, we're going to run it right here, and you're going to either stop it or we're going to make your night hard. And, you know, the game plan, you got to stop the run first thing. They've got a couple guys that are pretty good athletes. They've got a lot of beef up front, big guys that are physical and got a little nasty about them, guys that you would love to have play offensive line for you. And so game plan coming in, we got to stop the run. We got to match and outdo their physicality. And, you know, if we can do those 2 things, I think we'll be all right. Offensively, they kind of run a split 4 defense. They don't come out of it a whole lot. They say, we're going to stop the run, and if you beat us in the air, you beat us in the air. And so, you know, they're just rough, tough mountain boys that are going to be just a knockdown, drag-out fight for 4 quarters. I told them they better buckle their chin straps tight this week.
It'll be another quick game probably.
Hey.
As much as they run it and as much as you've been running recently, it's probably going to be a quick game.
Yeah. I think we watched in film, I think they threw the ball 3 times.
Wow.
In a game. So they obviously lean very heavily on their run game. I think it's their strong suit. They've got some athletes that just run hard. And, you know, they'll beat teams that they shouldn't beat just because they are so physical and they play hard. And that's why they're so tough to beat. You know, they're a good football team. They play hard, they play fast, and they fly around. And they got a little nasty about them.
Going off topic a little bit too, it was crazy. I think this past Friday night, your game with North Greene ended quicker than the South Greene game did, and South Greene's game started 30 minutes before your game. Just because of all the running, and the clock just kept chewing and chewing and chewing all the way down to the end of every quarter. But
I think, you know, when you chew 7 minutes off a quarter, the first quarter with 1 drive, that makes a big difference.
It does. And it'll probably be that way Friday night again too, with 2 strong running teams. So you told us what you expect on offense and defense too. I know you've been on the high school staff for a few years also since you've been the middle school coach. So you were with the team last year when you all knocked off Cloudland here at home on the range. What are some of the things from last year's game that you want to kind of carry over into this year's game to try to carry out the same success?
You know, I think if we can spread them out a little bit, kind of hit our short game passing, make them respect it at least a little bit, and not just let them stack 9 guys in the box and say, you're not going to run the football. You know, we got to kind of be able to hit our short game passing that, you know, we missed some of them last week. But, you know, I think if we can hit those short routes, give our receivers and our backs a little bit of confidence to go out and catch the ball. You know, that's something we did last year pretty well. I went back and watched that film today, and, you know, Jaden Gregg's scrambling was great for us. There's a couple plays where he read the give and he pulled it and he took off, and there was nobody within, you know, 10, 15 yards of him before he got touched. And so I think Dawson has the same kind of ability to pull that and take off running that Jaden had, but Jaden's just a step or two quicker than him. So, those things. And defensively, they run our defense, their offense, they run the same thing offensively. So, we did a pretty good job last year of containing that. And, Coach Greenlee does a great job defensively with the game plan. So that makes things a lot easier when I know that I can trust him to take care of that for us.
That's kind of a benefit, too. They run the same thing that you run. So, that's not hard to get used to.
No.
It's pretty easy to scout against.
Yes. They're just physical. They're going to be nasty. They're physical, and they've got some size up front. Our defensive line's got to come ready to play and stay low, or they might be on their backs a whole lot Friday night.
Yep.
That's what I've had to preach to them today and yesterday, that they're physical and they want to block people. They want to put people on their backs. And so, that's one thing we got to stay low and fight with them and make sure we're not getting blown off the ball. Got to control the line of scrimmage.
You play a lot of physical teams this year. I just thought of that. You play Cloudland. You play. You still have Johnson County on the schedule?
No, Johnson
County. I don't think so.
No.
But you get Hampton.
Yes.
That's kind of a trade-off where you lose Johnson County, but you get Hampton, who's arguably just as physical.
Yes. Hampton's very physical. They've got a couple guys that can run. We saw them in the Jamboree. They had speed. It's hard to beat speed.
It is.
You can throw Happy Valley in that mess with physical. South Greene's going to be physical. Unicoi is going to be physical. A lot of the teams we play this year is going to be tough physical football teams. And so that's something I've preached all summer long. We have to be more physical than our opponent.
All right, so I know this is our first coach show together, so you're not used to what happens at the end of these. At the end of every show, I ask what are the 3 keys to success that you need to carry out Friday night in order to win. So go ahead, give us those 3 keys and go.
3 keys to win. First one, got to win the turnover battle. Cannot lose that turnover battle. Second key is create more explosive plays than we give up. So what I mean by explosive plays is plays of 15 yards or more. So if we have 10 plays of 15 yards or more and they have 5, we've won that battle. And the third one is just score more than they do. Because if they
win football games,
you can't lose if you score more.
That's an obvious truth.
So big key. Now the third one, I'd love to see us come out and stop the run. And so we got to run the football. We've got to stop the run. And if we can do those 3 things, I think we'll be pretty successful.
All right, looking for your second career win as a head coach going into your second game now. You've got Cloudland on Friday night, kickoff set for 7:30 p.m.
Yes.
7:30 on top of Roan Mountain. If you're a West Greene Buffalo fan or supporter, go out and enjoy that game. Coach, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for sitting down with me.
No problem.
Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Pettit's Market Evan Monroe Show. We look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.
Go Buffs.